Australia's year as host has begun, and we're just 11 months away from the great event itself. So it's a great time to share some thoughts about what it all means, what the Brisbane Summit means for Brisbane, for business, and for the world. The G20 Summit proved to be effective at crisis response during its first 2 years of work. Created in reaction to the great financial crisis erupting in America in September 2008, at Washington in November, its first summit, at London in April the next year, at Pittsburgh in September 2009, it stopped the plunge into another Great Depression, got us back on the growth track, and saw its leaders choose it as the permanent premier forum for their international economic cooperation in the world. The summit has now become an effective global steering committee, taking on broader, longer-term, future-oriented tasks. At the 8th Summit in St. Petersburg, Russia, in September, the leaders paved the way for the end of chemical weapons in Syria, for a more reliable, fair tax system, and for financing the infrastructure that Australia and so many other countries in the world badly need. These summits have increasingly taken more and more difficult decisions, with a great spike at St. Petersburg to about 450 there. Leaders have shown again and again that the summit is far more than merely a photo op to show the folks back home leaders are working for them, more than a global hot tub party where leaders come together to casually chat, more than a bully pulpit where they preach to others about what to do. It's a place where they take precise, politically binding, tough decisions and act on them in the years ahead. We know that they have increasingly delivered on these decisions, taking the commitments they make at the sunny summit peak and complying with them when they descend back into the dark valleys of domestic politics at home. Recently, the compliance with those commitments of virtually all G20 members has been on the rise. It's up to a solid overall performance now, and Australia, with almost a perfect compliance record, is in the lead. So Australia is first in compliance with G20 commitments in recent years.
The fundamental issue is that what we are trying to do is influence cross-border issues across all of those G20 countries. We're not trying to deal with domestic policy issues or issues that are special just to one country. We will, of course, come across those issues, but what we try to do is influence high-level policy settings and bring together the international business community around that. So we do that through task forces. We've just appointed Mike Smith from the ANZ to run the financing task force, David Thodey from Telstra to run investment and infrastructure, Steve Sargent from GE to run human capital, and Andrew McKenzie from BHP Billiton to run the trade agenda. And they will do that with co-chairs from a range of countries, from the US, Russia, Turkey, a whole range of countries, as we coordinate those business activities. And the perspective that business leaders bring to the leaders is the real economy perspective. The world leaders know politics, they know what their citizens want, they understand the trade-offs they've got to make between different sectors of the economy and different international, regional and domestic perspectives. What business does is say to government, if you can do these things, it will allow us to invest, to grow our businesses, to create more jobs. Or these are the things that are stopping us from doing that. One of the big issues this year from both a government and a business perspective is about trying to make the G20 more impactful. And again, that's not as a criticism of past years, but as a desire to achieve more out of it. So if we are, both from a government and a business perspective, are much more focused and directed about that, it's more likely that we can have some very actionable recommendations, more likely that that will be a great legacy of Brisbane's.
What do we want out of the G20? Well, first and foremost, I guess we want a safe, secure, successful G20. And of course there has been a lot of careful planning of security and logistics that has been going on for a long time already, and Queensland Police are right in the centre of that. I think it'd be fair to say this would be the largest security event Australia has seen. Brisbane as Australia's new world city is a fantastic tagline, and I think it probably encapsulates a lot of the reasons why Brisbane was chosen. Whilst Brisbane is Australia's new world city, Cairns is the world's most livable tropical city. And if G20 is big for Brisbane, proportionately the Finance Ministers' meeting in Cairns is going to be huge. People out there don't know a lot about G20 or what to expect from it yet. I can say that for the last almost 18 months, the first priority has been around the planning, logistics and security, because I said in the beginning, that's a given. We've got to get that right. But expect to see now, in the new year, ramping up of the more public face of G20.